Hey, welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Jen and I make homemaking videos. Part of homemaking is feeding the people you love. Tonight, I'm making steak and cheese sandwiches. Other than a little prep work, these are pretty easy. All you need is a cut of beef. Most any will work. We buy a large portion and cut it down into steaks. You'll also need a green pepper, an onion, and cheese of your choice. I just used what I had on hand. For rolls, tonight I'm using sub rolls, but I generally bake them myself. For spices, you can choose whatever you like. Tonight I added black pepper, meat tenderizer, garlic powder, and a small amount of Italian seasoning. I didn't add in any salt because the meat tenderizer is flavored and it tends to be a little on the salty side. You'll also need a few splashes of olive oil. Well, any oil should work, but I think olive oil lends to a better flavor. I started off by cutting my steaks into thin strips. If you slice the steak thinly, it will cook faster and will make the sandwich easier to eat. This way, the meat always stays tender and every bite is perfectly balanced with all the other ingredients. So tell me, do you have a favorite sandwich? I love steak and cheese. I don't make them that often, but when we do have them, I really enjoy them. I also love an Italian with all the veggies, ham, cheese, salt, pepper, oil, and vinegar. Those are my go-to sandwiches. Anytime we go out for sandwiches, you want to betcha that's what I'm ordering. Now, I'm adding my meat to the pan as I get it cut up. My pan is already heated up on medium, and I'm just going to fly through and cut up the rest of this beef. And I'll be back in a few minutes. How many of you know that the pans that you generally buy from Walmart, the non-stick pans, are medium heat pans, that you are actually, in most cases, not supposed to use them on high? That is per the instructions for almost every pan set that I have bought from Walmart over the last years. Pioneer Woman pans say that, Tefal, and there's a few others. I know that the pan set that I'm using right now, in fact, you are not supposed to use high heat. It is a medium heat pan set. The pan does heat up and it becomes very, very hot, but you're not going to get a sear out of these pans, and in doing so, you risk warping them. For searing, you need something like a cast iron pan, or I keep a stainless steel pan on hand. Nothing to do with what we're talking about or doing here, just I thought I'd pass that along because I've actually ruined a few of my own pan sets thinking that it was okay to put them on high. In fact, some of the pan sets that I ruined, it's generally the frying pan, and it's when I'm making rice-a-roni and you come to that part where you pour the water in. Every time I've warped a pan, it was doing that. I'm just going to finish cutting the rest of this up, and we're going to be moving right on to our green peppers. So here we go. After you wash your green peppers, you're going to want to, cut the tops off, the bottoms, remove the stem, and remove the seeds and inner part of the green pepper. I know you all know this. Fairly simple. And you just want to cut it into strips. They don't have to be perfect. They're just going to all get thrown in with the onion and softened up. Since life has taken a busier turn, I've started doing Walmart pickup orders. And I have to say I'm pretty impressed. They do very good, for the most part, of picking out produce. In fact, they've picked me out 2 excellent watermelons. I cannot complain about those. And the green peppers and onions, they are on point. They did such a good job picking it out. The hubby's a little bit eked out by letting somebody pick our meats, but I don't know. I've had them do it a few times and they did just fine. Some of you might notice that I keep a trash bowl by me while I'm cutting up things and so forth. I generally do this when I'm videoing to stop running back and forth with things. I find it makes the video go a little bit smoother, but I also have found that it actually saves me quite a bit of time and movement through the kitchen by just having it right there. Now, I didn't go out and buy a special trash bowl. I know that some of the companies put them out. A trash bowl is just a bowl. We all know that. So I just throw my scraps in it. And tonight I brought all of my vegetable scraps out to the compost bin, and the meat went into the trash. Well, not the meat, but you know what I mean. The scraps that I cut off that were really just not anything that anybody needed to eat, such as the fat, and if there was any gristle. One thing I like about making these for the family is it's easy for me to let Bella customize her sandwich the way that she wants it. She has some food aversion issues, so she came in and she grabbed her meat out when it was done and put it in the bread and put some cheese on it and had some applesauce and some cucumbers on the side. And for me, that's perfectly fine. I like that it can be customized for everybody's needs in the house, and everybody has a meal that they all enjoy. As you see, I'm adding the spices in now. Like I told you at the beginning, it was Italian seasoning, pepper, garlic powder, and I also put meat tenderizer in it. The meat tenderizer for me, I buy my meat tenderizer always at Save-A-Lot, and it's the flavored one, and I will tell you, it makes a huge difference when you're cooking tougher cuts of meat. It really does tenderize it, and it gives it a nice flavor. There is something so relaxing about listening to somebody chop veggies on a wooden cutting board. I don't know what it is, but it is so relaxing to me. On another note, if you hear a bunch of sirens and crashing in the background, don't be alarmed. It's just hubby and Trev playing a video game. And here's a little fun fact for you. Did you know that it is proven that playing video games reduces pain? I thought I'd just pass that along. I've been reading a lot of your comments about the question that I asked about what kind of videos that you'd like to see. And there's a couple things I want to say. Yes, I know I haven't done a decluttering video in a few days. And actually, that is something we are going to be going right back to because my office needs to be decluttered. Now, I'm not going to be throwing every little thing in there away because I've invested a lot of money into my craft supplies, and they are things that I enjoy and use, and for the most part would like to keep many of them, but if there are things that I can pass along, I certainly choose to do so. You are also going to be seeing cooking videos like this one, and you're still going to be seeing clean with me's, declutter with me's, and maybe every so often a crafting type video. And I'm looking for more ideas. If you guys have other ideas, or if there's something you really like or you really don't like, just let me know, because I always want to listen and want to make sure that you get the best content you can have. I also wanted to acknowledge that on the last couple videos that I've made, there have been some mistakes, some editing problems, volume issues, so forth and so on. If you ever come across things that are way too loud or way too soft and you can't hear, let me know if things are not evening out. Sometimes it's very hard for me to tell on my end for some reason if things are going to level out across the board. And sometimes, I'll admit, I get rather tired and mistakes do happen. And I apologize for that. Well, tomorrow, guys, we're going to be seeing our first 90-degree day up here in northern Maine. For one, I am not excited. I do not like the heat. I don't do well in the heat. It makes me sick. So for the next 2 days, you will not see any videos of me outside. I will be hiding inside my house with my air conditioner cranked up.
You know, if you don't even have a Jeep that you can duck in? You know about Jeep ducking?
Yeah.
If you don't even have a Jeep, you can still do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We'll have to get a few. So it looks like I'm going to be purchasing some rubber ducks and leaving them with Bella on some people's Jeeps to go Jeep ducking. She's been wanting to do that, but I was under the impression you also had to be a Jeep owner, but she seems to say no, and I think it sounds innocent and fun enough, and it's always nice to give somebody else a surprise. Jeep ducking, or I believe they also call it duck Jeep, is when you put a rubber duck on the hood of someone's Jeep. I believe the tradition started back in 2020 by somebody who lived in, I believe, Canada. I'd have to go and look, but I believe it started in Canada. Leaving a duck is a gesture of kindness, a way of saying hello, and just brightening somebody else's day. Very innocent, harmless, and kind behavior. Something I really like to push forward in Bella's life. However, she does know that this is not something that she could do by herself or without an adult present. Have you ever been Jeep ducking before? So now I'm building my sandwiches. You can see that my first layer was the beef, and the second layer was peppers and onions, and the last layer will be the cheese that I have. You can also add to these mustard or any other type of thing, condiment that you like. And I am actually going to serve these with some applesauce, unsweetened applesauce on the side, and some cucumber slices. Since we had something so high in sugar the other day, I figured I'd balance it off with something not so carbohydrate laden, and just figured that I would make it a little bit healthier. And I had another spill in my oven. What a surprise. I put these in the oven for about 2 to 3 minutes, and I'm taking the rest of this beef and putting it in a bowl for either more sandwiches or a different meal altogether. And I just put the peppers and the meat in together and sealed it up and tossed it in the fridge. I guess I made a little bit too much, and that's fine because it'll just get used for something else. Before I go, I want to share with you some quick cleaning tips to keep your kitchen clean while you're cooking. Number 1 is to clean as you go. Anytime you're waiting on something, wash dishes and wipe your counters. It prevents a big mess at the end. 2, like I said, use a garbage bowl. It saves trips to the trash. Cleaning up spills immediately. It's easier to wipe then than later. Aligning your baking sheets is something that I usually do all the time. Delegate tasks in setting the table or stirring, which I do that a lot too. And quick end cleanup. Do a quick cleanup before you sit down and eat. That's one thing that I do not do usually. I like to sit down and eat my food while it's hot, because for too many years serving 8 children, that was just to the point that I never got a hot meal. So I do like having my food while it's still hot. So if you want to do that, that's great. You do you. But for me, I'm going to eat my food while it's hot. And you should too, if that's what you want to do. But thank you for spending this time with me. We're at the end of another video. And as always, happy cleaning and happy cooking. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.